The Conservative Party has been grappling recently, grappling and desperately clawing at reality, not only with the dire polling and disillusioned voters, but now with a fundamental question of identity, whether or not to seek an alliance, formal or informal, with Reform UK. The insurgent party led in spirit, if not in person, by Nigel Farage. I'm not shallow. And the story is as much about British politics today. It's a study in public denial and private desperation. And it began with Robert Jenrick, once a sturdy lieutenant of Conservative mainstream, hinting in leaked recordings that some form of coming together between the Conservatives and Reform was inevitable. Jenrick was careful, or thought he was, to avoid proposing a formal pact. But his words, heavy with implication, suggest a willingness to explore a coalition of necessity. And shortly after, Ben Houchen, the Tees Valley mayor and a respected moderate, echoed the idea. He speculated openly that if post-election arithmetic made it necessary, a conversation would be had between Conservative and Reform MPs to prevent a Labour government. Kemi Badenoch, a Conservative leader and standard-bearer of the credible right, hurried onto the Sunday shows to slap down the idea. Her words were brisk and apparently unambiguous. "Read my lips," she says on Sky. "I am not going into coalition with Nigel Farage." Yet even as she closed one door, she left another one ajar. Badenoch acknowledged that local coalitions with Reform councillors after the upcoming local elections, after the council elections on May the 1st, might be permissible in certain circumstances. Local needs must, she reasoned. We have been in coalition with Lib Dems and independents before. Thus, an important distinction was drawn. No national pacts, but local flexibility. Kevin Hollinrake, the Conservative housing spokesman, reacted with something bordering on revulsion. No pacts with Reform, he insisted, denouncing the party as economically incoherent, pointing out with devastating accuracy that Reform simultaneously proposes nationalising industries and privatising the NHS, while appearing sympathetic to Vladimir Putin over Ukraine. Such contradictions, he implied, make Reform not merely unpalatable, but fundamentally unserious and dangerous. Meanwhile, Farage himself, in a rare moment of clarity, dismissed the idea altogether. "Read my lips, Trevor," he told Sky News. "It's not happening. It's not happening. I'm not shallow." Farage's strategic logic is brutally simple. Reform's rise is built on profound disillusion with the Conservative Party. Why tie himself to what he calls a failing brand? In truth, this whole episode reveals something deeper than tactical disagreements. It exposes the existential panic now gripping the Conservative Party. The right is fragmented between those who want to purify conservatism and turn it into a small c conservative principle, and those like Jenrick and Houchen who acknowledge grim electoral mathematics and prioritise short-term survival even at the price of ideological contamination. Without Reform voters, the Conservative Party faces a bloodbath on the 1st of May. But to embrace Reform would mean aligning with a movement many Tory moderates and many voters see as radical, ungovernable and extreme, and therefore Kemi Badenoch is caught between a rock and a hard place, and to rule out any alliance is to risk handing Labour a massive majority. To allow one is to risk destroying the Conservative Party's already threadbare brand of competence and moderation. The conversation Ben Houchen predicts may yet happen if the numbers on election night demand it, and politically, reputationally and morally it's a conversation the Conservative Party is desperate to pretend it's not happening, and it's not having. The clock ticks ever louder towards disaster, with Kemi Badenoch at the helm like the captain of the Titanic, insisting that nothing's going down. "She's not going down. I'm not going down. I'm not shallow." And every new public denial only serves to remind voters, brace, it's going to be a disaster, and potential coalition partners alike of just how deeply the Tories are ensnared in their own contradictions. The real question is not whether there will be a pact, it's whether anything that emerges from the rubble of the next election will be recognisably Conservative at all.